So in this video, we're going to start working on the layout for the messages. Inside the components folder, I'm going to create a new folder, messages. If you want, you can create these components inside the chats folder, the components which we are going to create, but I'm going to create a separate folder for this. And inside this, the first file we are going to create is message.js. So we're going to map over the messages array and return this component. And for now, I'm going to leave it like this, close. And the next component is going to be message input field .js, again the React component. And after this, we are going to have a component banner .js. And let's import these three components inside this messages page. So now inside our return statement for this function component right here, where we are checking if chats.length is greater than 0, and we have a column. After this column's closing tag, we are going to create another column, grid.column. Its width is going to be 12. And inside this column, we are going to check if router.query.message, and let's add parentheses. And let's add fragments here. Inside this, we are going to have a div. This div is going to have a style object. Overflow is going to be auto. Overflow X is going to be hidden. Max height is going to be 35 rem. Height is going to be 35 rem. Background color is going to be white smoke, and save. Now inside this div, another fragments, and we are going to check if messages.length is greater than 0. Let's add a brackets here. We're going to have a div. The style is going to be position sticky. Top 0. So this one is going to be for our banner data. And inside this, we're going to return the component banner. And we're going to pass in the banner data state and save. So after this div, let's add fragments here. So after this div, we are going to map over the messages array, message, and we're going to return message component. I'm going to give it a key. Let's add an index here. The key is going to be index. And we're going to pass in the actual message. We are going to pass in the user state. So the logged in user state. And we are going to pass in the set messages function. And messages with, this is going to be open chat id.current. So again, I'm not using the router.query.message for this messages with property, because when the component re-renders, the value resets automatically. So we have created this ref to keep a track of that query string inside the URL bar. And now after this message component, after this div right here, make sure it is inside these fragments, not inside this div. After this div, we are going to have message input field, and we are going to pass in the socket, the ref, and user state. And also we're going to pass in the messages with. So again, we're going to pass in the chat ID, open chat id.current. And also for this socket prop, you can pass in the socket.current if you want, so that you do not have to use socket.current.emit every time you use socket inside this component. So now let's work on this banner right here. And we are going to receive the banner data inside the props. And we're going to need components from semantic UI React, segment, grid, and image. And inside this, what I'm going to do is destructure out the name and profile pic URL from the banner data. And now inside the return statement, let's remove this div, add fragments. Inside this, we're going to have a segment. The color of this segment is going to be teal. attached to the top. And inside this segment, we are going to have a grid. Inside this grid dot column, floated is going to be left, and its width is going to be 14. And inside this grid, we are going to have h4. So HTML h4. Inside this, we are going to have an image. It is going to have an avatar prop. The source of this image is going to be profile pic URL. And after this, we are going to have the name. And this is all we had to do for banner. So now if I go to my localhost server and refresh, and here you can see we get the banner and the image of the user with whom we are chatting. So the active chat. So now in the next video, we're going to start working on rendering out the messages. So I will see you there.